2013, it was very intentional that we need to expand the capacity of the port of Mombasa. Berth 22 is done and dusted, ready to take in more containers.
Are critical infrastructure in the global trade dynamics. Last year, total cargo throughput at the Mombasa port increased by 12.5% to stand at 34.76 million tons, with the overall transportation and storage sector growing by 7.2%. Phase 2 of the second container terminal has been completed in a quest to increase the container handling capacity of the Mombasa port. It will handle 450,000 TEUs, placing the cumulative port capacity to 2.1 million TEUs.
Capacity has to be ahead of the demand. Every time you hit 80% of the capacity, you need to start constructing. You need to expand the capacity.
The construction of Phase 2, which is Berth 22, commenced in August 2018. Not only has it created 2,000 jobs in the construction phase, but the extra handling capacity is set to transform the port's logistics. And as cargo capacity improves, concerns linger over whether this will see a reduction in charges for importers.
Every time you have, let's say, a container or a box waiting here, you are paying demurrage, the fee that you are paying. So the faster you move the container to where it's needed, the cheaper for everybody. That's where logistics comes in place, and that is why we believe that we are very lucky as Mombasa, because most of the containers here are used and are taken to Nairobi, which is about 500 kilometers away from here.
Boosting capacity is even more critical at a time fierce competition from the Central Corridor down in Tanzania hots up.
Northern Corridor is longer by about 150 kilometers. So if you were to transport per kilometer, you could imagine that it is, you compare Central Corridor and Northern Corridor, it's much faster on the Central Corridor. But if we don't have efficiency in the corridor, make it more competitive, right? What it means is that our port will be reduced to a feeder port. What that means is that a lot of transshipment then will happen outside Kenya, and that's business lost to our country. And for then us to benefit from the regional business, then we have to improve on operations, improve on management, up the game on in terms of our infrastructure and also the documentation.
The construction of the port is sophisticated. By the time the 3 phases are completed, close to 100 acres of land will have been reclaimed from the sea. With such a huge capacity, the port is well equipped to handle the work ahead.
We have 2 types of equipment. We have the ones that you move from ship to shore, gantry cranes, the ones that you are able to see heavy. Then we have the ones that we use to move within, or the rail base, the one that we move the containers over, and that is the second part of the project. Then we have security. Port security itself is actually a package.
The funding of Phase 1 and 2 has been a concessional loan of 58.8 billion Japanese yen, equivalent to 50.73 billion shillings.
We have 30-year repayment period with a 12-year, which is a grace period. Interest rate is quite low, and I just said about 0.01%, another 0.1%. That, in my view, without going into a lot of those details, it gives us room for us to recoup and be able to benefit from the business and the revenues that comes over to the port and also to the economy.
Global trade is growing by the day, and containerization is one of the means that this trade is facilitated.